Hello and welcome. Today's project is all about 3 ways health anxiety can harm your future self. Health anxiety sufferers remain stuck in their anxiety. It's a constant loop, but you want to get your anxiety pushing you from behind so that you propel yourself forward. You want to give yourself enough reasons to change. You want to attach so much pain to staying where you are so that you can move forward and heal, right? So I hope this video helps you add more reasons to change and to heal yourself from this health anxiety. The first reason why you should move forward and persist through this healing journey towards recovery is that health anxiety will harm your family life, right? So what does a health anxiety sufferer do when they're around their family? They talk about their symptoms constantly. Why do they do that? Well, it's because they get the feedback. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And why is that so comforting to a health anxiety sufferer? Because it's analgesic. We are social creatures. When we are around other people, especially people that we know well, like our families, it's analgesic, which means it blocks the pain receptors to the brain, right? That's why when you get that hug, that's why when you get that pat on the back, that's why when you're in their presence, you feel comforted. And health anxiety sufferers, when they're away from their families, they phone them up, try and get closer to their families. And also, the family members don't know what is going on. So the anxiety sufferer remains stuck. So the family members, say everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be fine, but that's not going to help them. The health anxiety sufferer needs the information to help them get out of that rut. Not to remain there, but to get out and move past it and to heal and to overcome these challenges. And health anxiety could affect the person that you're with, your partner, right? So your partner may leave you because they may realize that you're never going to overcome this challenge. You're never going to overcome this. You're just going to keep on coping with this health anxiety, with this rumination, this obsessing. And you're also going to project your fear of your health onto your children, if you have children, right? Because children are sponges. They're absorbing, they're constantly watching, and they're attentive, and they listen to what you say, and they absorb everything that you say and believe, and then they may grow up sensitive to their health. And this is usually the case, right? So, family. Health anxiety could harm your family in the future, and these reasons are quite powerful, I would say. Health anxiety could harm your health in your future as well. So, for example, if you have a factory and it's there working, and you have all your factory workers working 24/7, right? So what happens when you keep your factory workers working and working and working without going home at 5 o'clock? You're just going to keep them there day after day. They're losing sleep, and then the factory is going to make a lot more mistakes because everyone's losing sleep in the factory, and then a lot more mistakes occur. The factory eventually runs down. And that's what's going on internally, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, then you're going to suffer eventually. You're going to manifest the diseases that you are currently ruminating over that you most likely do not have. I never had the many diseases that I constantly obsessed about. And if I still remained stuck with health anxiety, well, I would have eventually manifested some sort of physical illness, because the fear response, the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fear response, which is your stress response, if that's always active, then your immune system becomes compromised. And if the factory workers remain working and working and working and working, there's going to be a lot more mistakes in the factory. There's going to be a lot more, the mistakes will cause the machinery to break down, and then eventually the factory will just be like, I can't sustain this. And so another example would be if you're revving your car in your driveway and the car is in park, and then you put a brick on the gas pedal and the car just keeps revving and revving and revving, and you go inside and you come out a day later, what happens? Well, the engine is just absolutely flooded, and then you're out of gas, and so you're just wearing this machinery down to the nub. And so you're doing that internally. A health anxiety sufferer who's continually stuck in this fear response, they're burning up so much resources that eventually they may get sick from a real disease. And I'm sure you know people who are always getting sick. You might be the one always getting sick. Well, why? It's like your immune system is weak, right? There's not enough oxygen getting into the lungs. You have to be in the parasympathetic nervous system to get proper digestion and rest, right? And a lot of health anxiety sufferers wake up in the middle of the night sweating and bewildered by what's underneath the surface. And the lack of sleep that a health anxiety sufferer gets actually compromises their immune system even more, because sleep is actually anti-inflammatory. Different cells the cells in your body help fight off cancer cells when you're sleeping. So that's another powerful reason to overcome and begin this healing journey of health anxiety. The third powerful reason why you should overcome your health anxiety is that your avoidance increases. And so if you go to the shopping mall and you have a panic attack and you get out of there, or if you avoid that shopping experience, that shopping mall, you're going to most likely fear not only the shopping mall even more, but environments that are similar to the shopping mall, that has the same characteristics as the shopping mall. So you might avoid the shopping mall, but then you go to the supermarket and then you're like, I feel anxious. I feel, and then you go back home. And then the anxiety sufferer is shrinking their world down more and more. They're shrinking their known territory further and further until their home, their safe space, is the only place that they feel comfortable. It's like the Shire from Lord of the Rings, right? So the Shire is like the known territory, the safe space for the hobbits. And the hobbits, once they leave the Shire, it's all unknown territory. But even the Shire could become this unknown territory to a health anxiety sufferer, right? So if you're Bilbo Baggins and he's suffering from health anxiety, and he goes to the pub right next down the road, and he has a panic attack, the Shire, which is the known territory, starts to shrink and shrink and shrink until Bilbo Baggins is in his little hut, unable to even step out of it, right? And so that's what happens to a health anxiety sufferer. They start to suffer from agoraphobia, which is just that, the fear of the public places, right? The fear of going out in public and having a panic attack, and while you're having a panic attack, making a fool of yourself while you do it, right? It's the social judgment. And so the health anxiety sufferer shrinks their world smaller and smaller and smaller. And the beast grows. Like, what happens when you avoid the shopping mall? Well, the dragon is growing, the beast is growing, right? You can also look at it like, if the beast is in the ocean, right? The shark, the ultimate threat is in the ocean, and you rope off the beach, right? And not deal with the threat. Well, you can rope it off, but the threat is still going to be there, and it's kids are eventually going to hop that fence, and some reckless teenagers hop the fence and then go in the ocean, and the beast grabs them. It's going to be there. It's going to grow. It's not going to just disappear. And so health anxiety sufferers think, well, if I just cope, if I just stay at home, if I just take these medications, if I eat this junk food and makes me feel good for the moment, but the beast is still there lurking. And you have to confront that thing in order to desensitize yourself from this health anxiety. So I hope that this video has helped you add more fuel to the health anxiety that you're currently going through. For me, when I used to suffer, all of these things were the fuel I needed to overcome. I noticed in my life that my family was getting irritated from the constant dependency I was projecting onto them. I noticed that my health, my immune system was more compromised. I noticed I was getting sick a lot more. The cold, I was getting the common cold a lot more. And then I noticed that I was avoiding everything in my life because I used to suffer from agoraphobia. I used to go out with Maggie and her friends, and then I used to have extreme panic when I was out with them. And then I would go to the symphony with Maggie, and then I would suffer extreme panic. And then I would go to the shopping mall, and I noticed that I needed to go into these environments more and more. And now that COVID is ending, hopefully, now that COVID and everything is opening up, it's time to go out and challenge yourself to those environments, the beasts, the ultimate threats in your life that are lurking there in the depths. And once you go out and confront them, you prove to yourself that, hey, I can go and do these things without dying. Prove to yourself that you're braver than you thought you were. And that's where I'm going to leave you on today's video. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or ideas for my channel, please leave a comment below. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leave a like if you haven't subscribed yet. Subscribe, and remember, do not let anxiety define who you are. I will see you on the next video or podcast. Bye for now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell so that whenever a new video of mine appears, you will be one of the first to know. Namaste.